Did you know that if you rearrange some of the letters in Cyberpunk, you get the word bricky, which is what I named my PC after being greeted with a blue screen of death that I'm suspecting is because I installed way too many mods.
It's time to stop!
Of course, I'm kidding, you can never have too many mods for Cyberpunk 2077, which is why today I'm going to show you at least 6 mods that I've been playing around with this holiday. This time, however, I'll go a little more in depth on what each mod does and even give you some nice little showcases. Before we start, if you enjoy these mod videos with questionable thumbnails, then do consider liking the video so we can push it out to more folks out there. I appreciate it. So, the first mod on this list is, to put it simply, just incredible. I'm of course talking about the stock market and news system mod. Like the name suggests, this mod introduces the Night City Stock Exchange to every computer in Night City. To access it, you simply walk up to any computer you come across, where you'll find the Stock Exchange tab to the right. After selecting it, you simply click on the username and password, whereas V will log into the stock exchange. You will then see some of the biggest movers in stocks as well as the general stock market value on top of the homepage tab. On the Stocks tab, you'll see a selection of 33 stocks that's available for you to buy and sell, and you can select the exact amount of stocks you'd like to buy or sell by using these different increments. On the News tab, you can see all the news that's telling you of events that affect the stock prices. As an example, on the bottom here we see a news section about how traffic deaths are on the rise in Night City. The stock news essentially gives you clues on stock you should buy or sell, and what's even better is that you're the one in control when it comes to stocks rising or falling, at least most of the time. Let me explain. So what I did is that I bought a bunch of stock in Militech, because as we know, Militech is in direct competition with Arasaka, because Arasaka are a bunch of clowns. After this, I headed over to the northwestern part of Night City, where you'll find a bunch of Arasaka employees. After murdering all of them in cold blood, as you do, I then headed back to V's computer, where lo and behold, you can see a small dip in Arasaka stock and an increase in Militech stock since I bought it.
Magic.
Now, of course, this was just from killing a bunch of Arasaka employees, and the big money comes from whenever you're doing some bigger side job or main story job. However, one stock in particular that kept moving up is the NCPD stock, which is the Night City Police. Later, I realized that this was because I kept doing NCPD missions, which, according to the stock news, had caused NCPD to lay off 30% of their police force, subsequently increasing their profits.
Great success!
And since I'd invested quite a bit of money into NCPD, my profits increased as well. Okay, so the next mod on this list is one that has a lot of potential, and this is the Finisher and Takedown Overhaul mod. Again, as you can probably guess from the name, this mod adds a new system to combat finishers. Upon installing this mod, you're given the ability to finish enemies off before grappling them first, visible by this extra button called Stealth Kill whenever you're behind an enemy, and depending on the weapon you use, the animation you see is the one tailored for that type of weapon. And if you have the native settings UI mod installed as well, you can also find settings for the Takedown Overhaul mod from your menu screen, where you can enable or disable certain animations and finishers. So if there's one attack that you want to use to finish enemies off over and over, you can disable other animations so you only get this one type. Now, why I say that this mod has a lot of potential is because, well, as you can see from the footage, it can be pretty buggy when it comes to some of the animations. For example, using blunt weapon finishers at the moment uses the sword or cutting weapon animation, and you'll hear cutting sound effects after killing enemies this way. And dropping on an enemy and slamming them against the floor is pretty awkward if you're not actually dropping onto them from above. As I mentioned before, you can disable this type of animation if you want to. So the mod creator still has some work to do on fixing up some of the standard animations, but I'd say that this mod is worth keeping an eye on since it's actually pretty fun to play around with when it actually works well. I'd say that for now, the katana and mantis blades are definitely the weapons that work the best with this mod. Now for the next mod, we have the Megabuilding Age 8 Expanded mod. You might recognize the name of this one from one of my earlier mod videos, and that's because the mod creator, Kratos, also made Liz's Bar Enhanced and Dewdrop In Enhanced. And just like the previous mods from this mod creator, the Megabuilding Age 8 Expanded mod adds new rooms and an apartment, as well as letting you access the Megabuilding freely. And now the Age 8 Megabuilding is the one located in Japantown, so if you already have a waypoint there, you can just fast travel to it. You'll be able to access the building through the elevator at the entrance, but only after completing the Pisques mission with Judy. Now once you can access the elevator to the clouds level, you'll find that several different areas have been opened up. You can now freely wander around and explore this unlocked Megabuilding, and you might even find some loot to boot. As I mentioned before, you can also purchase a new apartment for 10,000 eddies, and you'll find the apartment at the end of this corridor. The apartment itself is pretty much identical to V's old apartment in Megabuilding Age 10, with the exception that it doesn't have an armory, and when you open the blinders, you're greeted with the names of the mod creators on a concrete wall, which is pretty cool. Now if you want to explore even more, you'll also be able to access both the base level and the rooftop sections of the H8 Megabuilding that are normally locked away after helping Judy. But you can only do so by interacting with different objects that will teleport you around. To get to the base level, you interact with this panel right in front of the elevator, which will put you in a couch at the base. Here you'll find a pretty much abandoned sector containing some loot and some gift shops. In order to get to the rooftop again, you jump down to this service level from the base level and interact with another panel that will teleport you to the rooftop. Here you'll find Hiromi's apartment, and so if you want to, you can now explore it freely and pick up the loot that you might have missed out on earlier. You can also take some pretty sweet screenshots from up here, as the view is just breathtaking. Now throughout this video, you might have noticed that the lighting in my game looks different to your own game. How do you get this beautiful, clean look? Well, for that you'll be needing the natural Californian lighting mod. What this mod does is really simple. It overhauls the world lighting specifically, and completely removes all the green haze that's in the base version of Cyberpunk. It also brilliantly balances contrasts to make things less blinding and some areas less pitch black, making the world feel more natural to look at. Sunsets are especially beautiful with this mod, and the neon lights of Night City seem to pop more during nighttime. As a recommendation, you should probably remove any other lighting mods if you have any installed, so that there's no risk for it colliding with another mod. Since this is an aesthetic mod, I'm just going to let the showcase speak for itself before we move on to the last mods on this list. Okay, so now that you've had your fill of a California version of Night City, you've probably been wondering how I managed to take such insanely gorgeous screenshots. And for this you'll be needing two mods combined, this being PMU, Angy Postpacks, and Photo Mode Unlocker, with the Unlocker being necessary for the postpack to work. The Photo Mode Unlocker basically removes most of the restrictions for Cyberpunk's photo mode, meaning that you can do things like zoom the camera to an insane degree. This is perfect if you want to take shots of the city, but beware that some buildings might clip a bit when doing this. You can also rotate the camera 180 degrees and do other things that you couldn't do before with the photo mode. There are also new poses for not only both female V and male V, but for Johnny as well. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage of posing with Johnny, as I didn't get to the part where you play as Johnny for this video. In any case, it also allows for the use of several other post packs made by both the original mod author, Silver Edgerunners, as well as other post packs made by other creators. So make sure you get those as well if you love using photo mode. And now, for the specific post pack that I'm using, the Angy post pack for FemV, and well, I'll just let the video speak for itself.
Yeah, boy.
And that's all for today. I'll see you in the next one. Choom. Bye!